Hello, I'm Gail Thomas. I'm an energy intuitive, a teacher and an author, and I like to help people on their journeys to greater connection and higher consciousness, connecting through ancient and cosmic wisdom, through embodied practice such as meditation and nervous system regulation, coherence practice, aura work, etheric or energetic hygiene. And many people experience profound shifts when they walk along this path or through the guidance that they receive. Do you want to feel more imbalanced, inspired, and aligned with something greater than yourself? And what if accessing higher intelligence or higher consciousness wasn't about trance states, entities, or hoping, wishing for contact or forcing information to come through, but about becoming coherent enough for wisdom to recognize itself in you? My journey with higher consciousness began very differently than most who would say they're channeling or connecting. And I'd like to share what I've discovered. My connection to expanded consciousness came abruptly during a healing journey several years ago. I had done everything I could to heal myself physically, mentally, emotionally, and I was working on the deeper layers of spiritual alchemy, of processing my incoherence into health and balance. In meditation, I did a number of techniques, which I can talk about on another video. But on this one particular day, I asked for help. And for the first time ever, I asked Jesus. I reached out to him in my mind, asking for healing. And I felt empowered already from my practices. And I had zero expectation. What happened next, though, changed everything. Immediately, his presence enveloped me. It felt like pure unconditional love, and it felt like a coming home, and immediately I began to cry. The feeling of bliss and humility was overwhelmingly beautiful, and my hand lifted without any conscious effort and rested over my body. Warmth, coherence, and healing moved through me with crystal clarity. This was Jesus or Christ consciousness all around me and inside of me, pervading me. And this was a living field of the highest intelligent love. And I experienced a healing that day. I talk more about that in other videos, but from that moment, something opened. I began accessing a collective consciousness that identifies to me as TARP, not as an external entity out there, but as I've come to understand over time, it's like a scalar resonance structure or field that exists before language or identity or interpretation. So what does channeling actually mean for me? Here's what most people tend to misunderstand about, channeling. I don't receive information from outside of myself. Rather, I mirror a field of consciousness that already exists. It's not about trance, being possessed, or interpreting external voices. It's about becoming phase-coherent with a field of intelligence that is coherent and instantly benevolent. Coherence for me is when my breath, my nervous system, my emotions, and my awareness align harmoniously. And when that happens, my energy field becomes a clear reflector, and higher wisdom is then just able to move through me into my psyche or mind. And the whole of my body, including my nervous system and my energy body, is understanding on a holistic way, like a holistic language of vibration. I translate resonance into words that serve healing and guidance. And this happens in service to people, whether they may be individuals with delicate personal matters who need guidance or who have questions, or those that want to experience a healing activation. If they're, willing to heal themselves and receive this facilitation from me, then it flows through. I'm sovereign, I'm present, and I remained aligned during this process. I'd like to share that I want my approach to stay rooted in sovereignty and discernment, where you remain in control of your field at all times, and no power is ever given away to external beings or entities or experiences or other people. Discernment is paramount, and learning to understand what is your energy and what is not your energy. So when working with others to develop this same awareness, I'm looking at this with the person about clearing ego distortions and negative mind patterns, releasing old self-limiting beliefs that block trust, and understanding how polarity consciousness can affect your perception. I also use specific breath work to clean energy meridians and to focus the mind and strengthen the third eye. And this isn't about becoming psychic. It's about becoming the clearest possible mirror or coherence field for truth. Along the way, I've realized that true contact with higher consciousness requires profound humility and sacredness, a sort of reverence to the grand oneness or source of all that is. And you must go deep inside, be aware of your ego, how it serves you, and sometimes how it impedes you. The more you can process your fears and release your limiting beliefs and traumas, or they taint everything that flows through you. The more, though, that you can do that, the more you can integrate your consciousness to perceive wider bandwidth, to move beyond the five senses and to move beyond your compartmentalized consciousness. If you can do that, then there's a sacred paradox, another thing to get over. The more you desperately want to make contact or receive higher guidance or connection, the more it is something that evades you. However, the more you cultivate coherence and trust and lose resistance and expectation, the more this kind of thing will flow to you. And in working with others, whether it's to develop extrasensory perception, channeling or connection to guides or to one's higher self, or simply to experience just higher states of awareness and bliss, is to approach this with a playfulness, not a desperate grasping. When you're coherent and in command of your energy, you have an awareness of your energy and your energy body and your aura, and you are relaxed. Your intuition then becomes reliably clearer, and guidance can arrive without confusion or interference. Therefore, you can serve others in a more grounded way, and your daily life can become more magnetic and purposeful. You can be more authentic, more yourself, because you're letting the flow, the source of who you are, flow through you, and your highest purpose and potential to flow through you. I've been guiding people through this process for 5 years, and along my path, I'm constantly refining my approach to teaching this as my and everyone's consciousness evolves. So if you feel called to explore coherent access to higher intelligence in a safe and grounded way, not as a forced way or as a performance, but as a natural extension of your energy and your sovereignty and your consciousness, I offer you a way with training programs, foundational programs, and more advanced programs for deeper integration. And both include that personalized breathwork, practices, and direct support with me. Links are in the description if you're interested. You are capable of bringing in more wisdom and inspiration and joy and intuition than, well, maybe you do realize. But there are ways to anchor this into higher ways of living, and coherence is the key, and it's far more accessible than you might think. Thank you for watching.